Hello everyone, welcome to this video. My name is Ryan, I have cerebral palsy and I've used a walker my entire life. Today we're going to talk about why having a disability can be unintentionally funny. I was watching a YouTube video the other day of a guy with a disability doing karate. The guy had hands and feet, but he didn't really have limbs. And the comments are exactly what you would expect. So when you're watching the video, the guy is sitting on his butt on the mats and he's doing karate moves. And at first, it looks kind of awkward. Reading the comments and seeing the video, it was just kind of funny. You know, I have a disability. I do jujitsu. I'm sure things that I do in jujitsu are awkward and probably funny to other people. As I was watching the video, the initial humor started to wear off, and I was thinking like, I'm not making fun of the guy. If anything, I actually admire the guy. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And you kind of have to tip your hat to him. And I started looking back on my own life and thinking, what are some times where people laughed at me? I'll never forget this time I was in first grade. I went to a Montessori school, but it was associated with like a Catholic church. So every once in a while they had mass. I remember going to mass during school hours. And in the middle of the mass, the priest does this thing called the consecration, and they sort of ring these chimes. And because I had a disability, they sat me all the way up front. And so in the middle of the mass, they ring the chimes, and it startles me so much, and I jump out of my seat. Everyone starts laughing. And then the mass proceeds, the priest continues to do his blessing, the chimes ring again, and I jump out of my seat again, and everyone laughs again. And so I started thinking about that, and I asked myself, why is it that people laugh at this stuff? Why do we laugh at this stuff? And I think I figured it out. One of the ingredients of humor is when something is out of place. And when you have an observable disability, you often satisfy that ingredient. Now, I don't mean you're out of place, like you don't belong in the world. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying sometimes, like me, when you have a walker, it's out of context. But the thing is, one ingredient, just being out of place, that's just one ingredient of humor. Being out of place doesn't necessarily make something funny. But if you already satisfy one ingredient, life doesn't have to work too hard to find another ingredient and make your disability unintentionally funny. So with the guy doing karate, for example, there are a few different ingredients that I think kind of make it funny. The first is that karate is already this universally recognizable thing. We already have a mental model of what karate actually is. You know, you think about people standing up and doing these moves, and then you throw in something out of place, like this guy with no limbs doing karate. And then you throw in another ingredient that I hate to admit, but it's actually true. It's misfortune. Somehow we like to laugh at other people's misfortunes. Like look at the Jackass movies, for example. Why are the Jackass movies so popular? Because it's funny to see people get hit in the balls. The same thing with my church experience. You have a mix of different ingredients that combine together and just make it funny. One, you're at church, so everyone has this mental model of church. And then you have this kid with a disability who jumps out of his seat when the chimes ring, and throw misfortune in there too, because for whatever reason, it's funny when people get startled. It's this mixture of ingredients that created that funny moment. Both of these situations, the karate video and in my experience, you're violating the normal expectations that people have in these particular situations. There are a bunch of viral clips of this girl that has Tourette's, and whenever she has her verbal tics, she's swearing like a black Southern woman. And it's hilarious. It's not hilarious that she has Tourette's. It's funny because the situation unexpectedly changed out of nowhere. And the abruptness makes it hilarious. And what I realized with all of this is that sometimes people are just laughing at you and there's nothing you can really do about that. But sometimes, for better or worse, having a disability unintentionally creates funny moments.